the back channels that we knew about. I mean, I'm sure you saw the video from a couple months ago when Jen Psaki admitted that the administration flags misinformation from Facebook. I mean, they were already infringing on our First Amendment rights. They were already having some coordination with companies to limit our ability to speak. You're a journalist. We don't really have any journalists left anymore. I mean, that I don't have to go like this, do the air quotes. Why didn't more journalists, you'd think that journalists might care about the First Amendment, why didn't more journalists say, maybe we should look into that the government telling corporations what can be said on their platforms is a bit of a problem?
Yeah, well, because in their mind, misinformation, disinformation, dangerous speech, all of these things, they have sort of an objective criteria for, and their objective criteria is anybody that deviates from the mainstream liberal orthodoxy, that is considered misinformation. And we're talking about vaccines or police shootings, whatever it is. Like, this thing happens over and over again, that we see these same patterns of censorship. I mean, with the New York Post story on the Hunter Biden laptop that was blocked from sharing on Twitter. I mean, that is egregious. Like, if you just read that, you would think that is a story from like Iran or some like dictatorship or Venezuela or something, but that was in the United States. That is deeply disturbing. And also, I don't know if you want me to push it a little bit to what's happening in Canada as well. Like, I'm happy that I'm happy this board is being dismantling on your side, because Nina Jankowicz is deliberately, or I should say, very disturbing in nature what she was proposing in all her weird TikTok videos and whatnot. But here in Canada, Trudeau is pushing Bill C-36, the online harms bill that's designed to protect ethnic minorities, sexual minorities, LGBTQ, and in that bill, what is proposed is that you could possibly preemptively report to law enforcement if one individual thinks that somebody else is going to say something hateful or post something offensive. You can preemptively tattletale on them, and law enforcement could then surveil them for this. And interestingly enough, like, this is so authoritarian, it's so sweeping and egregious that even Twitter has pushed back on the Trudeau government and has said that this could be used to silence political opposition. Something very strange for Twitter to say, obviously, and even various ethnic minority groups here in Canada, like the Canadian National Muslims Association, has pushed back against this bill and said this could actually harm the very groups that Trudeau is trying to pander to with this bill that's supposedly designed to protect the feelings of racial and ethnic minorities, because apparently we can't take pushback online. But it's all just more and more power in the way of Trudeau that this whole COVID pandemic has just fueled up his behinds. He's gotten more and more power, and he's trying to boost that even more with this online social media censorship.
Well, you know what, folks? We are a professional organization around here, so don't take Rav's word for all of that. Here's Justin Trudeau himself.
There is no question that the world is changing rapidly and getting more dangerous in new ways than ever before. When we look at the prevalence of misinformation, of disinformation, the way social media has been weaponized both by foreign actors and by people within Canada pushing extremist views, trying to foment anger and discord, whether it's extremist ideology and right-wing terrorism on the rise in Canada, or whether it's examples like the illegal protests we saw in the winter. There are a whole new set of challenges that we need to be responding to, and that's why we're working closely with our national security agencies, working closely with organizations like the Canadian Security Establishment around communications to make sure that we are able to respond to these new issues, new realities. We need to do it, however, in a way that continues to defend freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to protest, to legally protest, while at the same time we're taking on more tools to keep Canadians safe. Because increasingly we're seeing that things that start online end up having impacts on the real world.
Justin Trudeau. I can't.
My friend, in that moment, we usually mute everybody. We didn't, so I'll let you go first before I let Sara jump in. You just can't deal with this guy anymore.
It's audible torture, it's intellectual torture, it's outright lies. This guy is now saying he's going to go after misinformation. He has been responsible for putting out some of the most egregious misinformation out of his own mouth, some of the most divisive, hateful comments ever. He gets on his podium when he's running for office talking about the unvaccinated, putting at risk their kids and putting at risk our kids. Those people are putting us all at risk. He is what he warns us about, and now he wants laws to basically protect him and persecute whomever he disagrees with and whomever he calls misinformation. It's outrageous, and I mean, I'm glad I'm a reasonably polite person and didn't say what I was thinking. In any event, it's nauseating to listen to.
But Viva, he wears nice socks. Isn't that important to you?
He just, it's incessant. And it's Bill C-36, it's Bill C-11. They want to regulate the internet. They basically want to criminalize any speech that they don't like. And that happens to be independent media who call Trudeau for what he is: dishonest, divisive, and ultimately wickedly unconstitutional.